Hey guys, my name is Christian Batuli. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope each one of you guys is doing amazing. As always, it's a pleasure to see you guys. I know it's been a while, but I'm excited to be back and talking and sharing some ideas with you. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about this word. Yes, make sure you keep that in mind, this word. And the reason why I want to talk to you guys about this word is because I'm never gonna lie to you guys. The first time I came across this word, I did not know what it meant. And how I came about this word was through, just a daily conversation and interaction that I have with my coworkers. And in particularly, I was talking to one of my male coworker. We're just gonna call him D for short. He has a family, so I'm not really trying to put him out there like that. He's really cool. Like, we talk about everything. I really seem to vibe with him, but also at the same time, if I'm being honest, like, he's very religious. He believes in marriage. He believes in humanity. He believes in, he's very positive, and there's nothing wrong with that. I really respect that. But me, on the other hand, I try to be positive, but I also know the world is, effed up based on my experience. And now I feel like I'm in a period of my life where I'm questioning everything. I have doubts. Like, I don't know if there is a God out there. I don't know if there's an existence of a higher power. Well, I don't know how I'm gonna feel 5 years from today, so I'm not gonna rule it out. But right now I'm just confused about a lot of things. But there are certain conversations that we try to stay away from, though, like politics, religion, sexuality, like those kind of conversations. We try to stay away from that. But for some reason, on this particular day, it's like we got stuck into talking about, religion, and we both knew we needed to like get away from that, change the topic. But for some reason, we kept coming back to that topic. He went on to kind of like tell me how, he believes in God, how he believes in a higher power, because, based on experiences, it used to be like me at one point. He wasn't sure, but with time, he was able to find himself, and now he's a believer. And in response, I told him, some of the reasons why I'm unsure. I have doubts whether God or higher power exists. When I look at some of the world's atrocities, some of the things that are going on right now, like, it just makes me question a lot of things. Like I said again, my answer right now is not a definite. But I felt bad for him though, because I give him my reasons, perhaps a lot more than he anticipated. But and I ended up making this statement. I told him, I was like, just don't think I'm like an atheist or anything like that. I'm just unsure. And even if you are an atheist, I'm not judging you here. You're a grown adults, make your own decision. But this was the statement that I told him, like, and he responded by saying, I don't think you are, but I do think you're a little bit agnostic. And I kind of played off like I knew what he meant, because I like to consider myself as someone who's well read, but I didn't know what he meant. You know what I mean? So I kind of played off. I was like, maybe. So I went back home. And the first thing I did was I ended up, going to Google, and I Googled what agnostic meant. And the definition of agnostic in Google says an individual who believes that the existence of God or higher power is unknown or impossible to know. Pretty much someone like me, someone who's doubtful, someone who's unsure. So when he said that, that's when like it kind of made sense to me. Now, after learning what the word meant, it got me thinking. So a lot of us people, we are unsure about a lot of things. We have doubts. I don't think it's a far stretch to say that people are unsure about a lot of things most of the time. To use myself as an example, like, I am unsure, for example, about love, because I've been to that one point where I was starting to believe that love is real, right? And this is coming from somebody who's in a relationship. Does that mean that I'm not having my relationship? No, but I'm just saying, like, I've been through so much roller coaster rides to the point where it's like I'm unsure if real love exists. I'm unsure if real marriage exists, because I feel like nowadays people are falling in love with the idea of getting married instead of understanding that marriage is commitment. Love is important, but you have to be committed. So I'll be honest with you guys, I'm unsure about a lot of things, including whether God or higher power exists. Now, the reason why I decided to make this video about this word and the message that I'm trying to send across to you guys is that, look, even though we are unsure about a lot of things, even though we may have doubts about certain things, but the one thing that we cannot, the one person that we cannot be unsure about, the one person we cannot have doubts about is you, is ourselves. So if you don't believe in anything, if you have doubts about anything out there in the world, just do not have doubt when it comes to you. Be sure when it comes to you. Because if you're trying to be somebody different, if you're trying to be perhaps the first one in your family to graduate, the first one in your family, to break the generational curse of maybe being poor, or, you're trying to become, somebody successful, or you're trying to bring a new idea to the market, to the scene, you have to be sure about yourself. You have to be confident about yourself, and you can't doubt yourself. And I know what you guys thinking, Christian, now you're going to come, talk about God, like switch up on us and stuff like that. Like, no, what I'm just saying is that I'm trying to do right. I know I'm not perfect. That's why I'm trying to do right. I don't get it right all the time. Excuse me. Oh, not fly, man. I don't get it right all the time, but I'm trying to do better. And I always try to rectify all my wrongdoings. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm wrong, I'm going to say I'm wrong. But I just want you guys to really think about this. All right? It's actually a question for my audience. So the question is, what does a believer and a non-believer have in common? The one thing they have in common is that neither party can prove the existence of God does exist. Neither party can prove the existence of God does not exist. But what do you think is the difference between them? The difference between them is the belief. One believes, meaning the religious person believes, right? So once again, going back to my point, if you don't believe in anything, you're unsure about stuff out there. But when it comes to yourself, you have to believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in you, then the world is not going to believe in you. It has to start within you. It has to start with you first. And since this channel is designed and geared towards entrepreneurship, I tell a lot of entrepreneurs that when you're trying to be successful, it's always better to stay low key and not to tell everybody. Not because you are ashamed of what you're doing or you're not proud. It's because more often than not, when you tell people your goals, your dreams, your project, they're going to tell you reasons why it won't work. Just because they can't do it subconsciously, they're trying to hit on you. But when you're trying to get something going, get the right people, work in silence, and just work hard until you get stuff moving. Because people only want to come to the party when it's popping. It's true. So you have to believe in yourself. And there's just so many benefits behind why you should always believe in yourself. People who believes in themselves tends to trust their intuition more. Yes. And I don't know if you are someone who's been with the channel for a while, but I've made a video in the past where I talked about when it comes to decision making, incorporating logic and intuition will always give you the best decision. But now, if I were to choose which one is perhaps more important, I'm not dismissing logic, but if I had to choose one, right, which I think is more important, I would say intuition. Yes, people who believe in themselves tend to have trust in their intuition more than people who don't believe in themselves. And I know some people will be like, Christian, like, what are you thinking? Logic makes the world go around. And I'm sorry, I beg to differ, because logic can kind of limit your scope, can put you in a box. And there's some certain decisions, there's certain things that happen in the world, like logic does not have a place for it. If you use logic in certain situations, in certain places, it'll get you nowhere. But when it comes to intuition, intuition is real. Intuition is something that starts within us. You know what I mean? Like, intuition is like the creative part of our decisions. You can never go wrong with your intuition. You can never regret expressing and pursuing what your intuition is telling you. Maybe you regret how you went about expressing it. Nobody told you to go break into that guy's car. You know what I mean? But intuition is so important, because as a person who watches sport, I know stats lies. I know there's certain things that happens in the game, you can't keep stat for it. I know there's certain players, certain things they do in the game, there is no stats for it. But if you take those players out, if you took those players out the lineup, the team will function differently. You know, so sometimes you have to trust your gut. You have to trust the feel. You know, think about some of the biggest hit musically that we have heard. It was based on intuition. A lot of people have become rich because of trusting their intuition. A lot of people got saved because somebody else trusted their intuition. I have a 6-year-old, and sometimes when, you know, he's drawing, you know, he's trying to draw maybe, I don't know, Paw Patrol or something, and he's just all over the place, mixing up colors, you know, not staying on page, and a part of me wants to be like, what are you doing? The logic part of me, hey son, we don't draw like that. We stay in this box, we do this. But the creative is going with his intuition. That's what Picasso said it best. Every child is an artist. But the hardest part is to remain an artist when you become an adult. And people who believe in themselves tend to trust their intuition. So I would trust someone's intuition before their logic. Another reason why you should always believe in yourself and have no doubt is that people who have faith in themselves know that they always have an option. They know that when one door closes, the other will open. So you can never get someone who believes in themselves down. It doesn't matter the rejection, you know, because they know there's always options out there. They just have to keep going. They have to keep looking. But you're never going to get them down, because in life you always have options. In business, people who believe in themselves, they know that, like, if they have a terrible business partner, they have other options. There are some good business partners out there, and it may take time, but with patience, you know, you eventually get what you want. That's an amazing quality, because how many of us, for example, have stayed in relationships that didn't serve us, you know, that didn't serve us well. I've stayed in relationships where, you know, we were not happy only because we felt like we had no options, you know. But when you believe in yourself, you know that you always have options, and it's not just like A and B. No, you have like option A1, you have option A2, option A3, option A4. You know, you have plenty of options, and that's a great thing to have. So many reasons why you should always believe in yourself, even when someone gets you down, even when you face a rejection. You know, like, pick yourself up and keep going. Another reason why you should focus on believing in yourself more before anything else. People who believe in themselves tend to want to demonstrate, want to exhibit the quality of their work. For example, when we're watching basketball and we watch LeBron James, or when we watch soccer, or when we, hear Master KG making one of those Afro House beat, like, they are demonstrating virtue in their profession. That's the reason why they are at the top of their profession and getting paid, like they deserve. Because when you believe in yourself, you will understand that quality, skills will keep you in business for the long, long, long haul. Because that's something that you can build a foundation on. For example, if you're running a business, I understand marketing is important. I understand branding is important. But if your product, if your service, is not up to standard, you're not at least trying to give the highest quality or provide the highest standard, then guess what? You're no longer going to be in business, because there's going to be someone out there who's going to work harder than you, and that's going to provide better service. If you're an athlete, you have to work on your skills. The media can hype you up, but when time comes, when the spotlight is on, and if you're not ready, it's going to show. So people who believes in themselves, they know that, hey, it's good to have confidence. It's good to believe in myself, but I also have to back it up. So they focus on getting better. They focus on improving their craft. They focus on trying to do the best job as they can. All right. So that's another reason why you should always believe in yourself, because it's going to push you to want to step up your game. Another reason why you should always have faith in yourself. People who have faith in themselves, they like to take action. You can talk about wanting to make money, but if you're not moving, you're not trying to figure out a way to make money and actually put it into action, then you just, you're wasting people's time. You really are. Whatever you're wanting to do, you got to get to it. You got to do it. You got to move. Because when I look at the world now, like, the world have developed tremendously over centuries. We have, skyscrapers. Now we have, like, I hear in China, like, they have some, like, I think Speed showed it on his YouTube page, like flying cars. We have planes. The world have developed because people, they had an idea in their head and they decided to put it into action. So get off the couch, move, do something. This is the reason why, like, I'm loving being an entrepreneur, because, you get to put ideas into action. And once you take action, you have to stick with it. You have to take it a day at a time, because you don't want to, like, wear yourself out either. People who believes in themselves, they know they got to take action, but they also know they got to have a plan. They'll break it down to, achievable steps, something they can do every single day, and eventually will get them there, right? And once they make that plan, once they make the decision to do whatever they want to do, they're not going back on that decision. There's no regret. Don't have a buyer's remorse. You know what I mean? Like, don't go buy something and then take it back. I'm sure the store don't like that. I wouldn't like it. If I were to sell you something, why are you bringing it back? You had the time to look. You know what I mean? You had the time, especially if they give you even a room. Especially if they give you a room to go try it. To try your shoes, to try your shirt. And then you're coming back days later because it doesn't fit. How does that make sense? So people who believes in themselves, they don't go back on their decision. The only time they're going to look back is just like to learn from the experience, to not do what got them in trouble. You know what I mean? But they don't look back. In conclusion, all right, I feel like I get distracted easily. So people who have faith in themselves, right, they know when things are coming to an end. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, for example, if you're an artist, you have to understand sometimes, hey, dude, the song is finished. Don't try to do too much on it, right? Don't be stuck on one project for a year. Like, let's keep moving. You got to understand when to be like, okay, things are done. I painted, I made this track. I'm done with whatever I'm doing. And if I keep doing more, I'm only going to mess it up. You know, in a way, you're not really seeking perfection because nothing is perfect in this world. So I think out of all the qualities that I talked about in this video, I think this perhaps is one of my favorite qualities about people who believes in themselves, because I've had hard times, you know, letting go, you know, of certain things, of certain people. I've had hard times of ending things when it needed to end, you know, and sometimes I still like find myself trying to like perfect my YouTube video, try to like hide who I am. I am proud of who I am, you know what I mean? Like, I am from Congo. I was raised in the United States, you know, so I love the United States, but I also can't forget my roots, you know. So you gotta know when to walk away. You gotta know when to turn in your homework, and that's what I will leave you with. At the end of the day, if you don't believe in God, I'm not here to judge you. That's your personal decision. If you believe in God, if you believe in marriage, if you believe in all that, or if you don't, I'm not here to judge nobody. But the one person that you cannot afford not to believe in is you. So always make sure you believe in yourself, you have faith in yourself, and you trust yourself before anything else in the world. All right, so that's the message. I'll see you guys next time. Ciao. Bye.